I'm very pleased to be talking with Lisa Swayne, who's going to sing the soprano solo for us at the Waverley Singers concert in the Farnham Maltings on the 24th of March in the Mass in Blue by Will Todd. Lisa, thank you so much for sparing the time to talk to me.
Very much, Mike. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a highlight of my year so far.
Great. Well, it's certainly, yes. I mean, it's certainly going to be the highlight of our year so far, although we did have a really fabulous Mozart Requiem workshop last Saturday, which was really terrific. But this is something completely different, but we're all looking forward to it very much.
Utterly and completely different.
So maybe we could start. Maybe you could just tell me a little bit about your career as a singer, how you came to be a professional singer. It's quite a journey.
Yes, it's a journey. It's a lifelong thing, as all professional singers. It's you start from an early age. You claw your way up through choirs, youth choirs. I did my time in National Youth Choir for a very long time. I was part of that family. It gave me all the tools I needed, really, especially when it came to going into vocal studies at the Royal Scottish Academy, which is now the Royal Scottish Conservatoire. That was how I kind of started. It was through youth choirs, and then I went to the academy and did my time there, 5 years up in Scotland, which was fantastic. It was really lovely. Did a lot of different music up there. I was in the contemporary music scene quite heavily up there, and I still do love contemporary music very much so. But it's just that I don't get the option to do it very often. But left Glasgow, moved back down to London. As you can tell, I'm not a native Scot, so my family was the south of England. So I moved back down to London and started kind of plugging my way through as any wannabe person does. So the church choirs. I did a few years of trying to be kind of the Monteverdi, kind of that style of thing, but then I soon realised my voice was going in a bigger direction to that. It was sticking out too much for the choruses. So I went to did the E&O Opera Works course. That was about 13, 14 years ago now I did that course, which was fabulous. Another good base.
That's very interesting. You say your voice was going to a different place. That must have been quite an interesting moment when you had to choose your direction, because that's where your voice was taking you.
Yeah, I was a heavier soprano than they wanted in the choirs, especially in the Monteverdis and the 16s, and I was a heavier sound that sticks out a little bit too much for them. They prefer people. I can blend, but not all the time, and maybe it was my own control issues. Who knows? But at the end of the day, that was fine for me, and always throughout my entire time in kind of beginnings of London, I've always had oratorios and things to enjoy, and I love doing oratorios. I love doing big concerts with fabulous local choirs. It's really exciting to go around the country and see all these nice things with nice people who just do it for the love of it.
I suppose oratorio as well as opera requires you to have a big voice, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. You've got to be able to cut through the big ensembles.
Yeah, the likes of us singing away in the background,
Yeah, exactly. You're quite a number, aren't you? You're quite strong. I've seen all the numbers of you. I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be exciting.
I think we'll be about 80 or 90 in the Maltings, which is great. Because the only frustration for us is that because you sing in front of us, we can't actually hear you sing. So in the rehearsal in the afternoon, will you please turn around so we can actually get to hear you sing?
I always actually do, because I find it really odd singing to an empty studio, an empty space. So I generally always do turn around. But with something like the Mass in Blue, we have it will be amplified. So I will actually have a microphone, because the piano's amplified, the bass and the drums are all amplified. And I don't know whether or not he's bringing other instruments as well.
There's a sax, yeah.
There's a sax, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so exciting. I did it with a saxophone last summer, and it just added this whole level of fun that I didn't think it was going to add, and it was brilliant. So yes, it will all be amplified. So you will probably have feedback speakers anyway. You will be able to hear what's going on from the jazz trio, and possibly from me. Or you might not want to hear so much from me, but
Sure
I might put you off sometimes.
I'm sure we will. But before we get to the Mass in Blue, I just couldn't help noticing that you're singing the Verdi Requiem in a concert the night before ours.
I couldn't say no. It was one of those moments of two really big, awesome pieces, just wonderful. The Verdi Requiem I'm singing it for a gentleman, Julian Collins, who I've worked with for over 10 years now, and I've done repeated concerts with him, just always, and it's such fun. And the quartet, the solo quartet, we're just friends. And it also happens to be 3 miles away from my house. So all of those things, just happiness. And that piece is stonking. I couldn't say no to it.
No, well,
I should be absolutely. I know I should be absolutely fine to do both pieces in one weekend. It will just be a bit of a head toss on the Sunday morning of thinking, where am I now?
Well, tell me a bit more about the challenge of singing the soprano solo in the Mass in Blue, because it's quite a challenge, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It was written obviously with Will's wife in mind, with Beth in mind. She improvised. They came up with loads of wonderful things, and I think a lot of it was improvisational, which is when you eventually note that down on a piece of paper for somebody else to sing, feels quite alien for that other person, because you're singing somebody else's improvised notes. So it did take me a long time to pick my way through. It was this time last year. I only sang it for the first time last May.
Oh, really? Oh.
Was it last May? No, it was 2 Mays ago. Sorry, it was 2 years ago.
Right.
In Southall with Will. And I spent many hours picking it apart with my teacher, Graham Danby, who actually is a close personal friend of Will's, who worked on it when Will was writing it. So it all kind of came in quite nicely. So yeah, it was every single note placed exactly right within the chords, making sure you know exactly where each phrase is going. But my God, it's thrilling to sing. It's really fun.
Yes. How much is it just a case of it's just something you've got to know, and you've got to know how to sing it? For amateur choirs, the real enemy is not getting out of the score. And I'm not a terribly good sight reader anyway. And so I find that if I really understand the music and what it's trying to say, and I've got the confidence just to sing it, it always goes much better. I probably shouldn't be saying this because Richard will be watching this at some stage. But it's a bit of a touch piece, isn't it?
It is. It really is. But the thing that really struck me from the first time I did it with Will was how much fun he wanted to have with it, as much as he wanted to encourage both myself, who I was shaking, it was out of my box, had a microphone in my hand, never normally have a microphone in my hand, doing all this stuff. He just please have fun with it, actually enjoy it. And he wanted the choir to have fun with it and enjoy it. And he breaks it down for choirs. The beginning of the Benedictus is one of my favorite bits, actually, with the basses. And he's just like, you've got to sound like those double basses, and you've got to imagine like you're going boom, boom, boom. You've got to really imagine that. And what you can see the choirs, instead of going, oh yes, I'm counting. Oh no, wait. Oh, I'm going to start enjoying this now. And you can see it coming through in their heads, and it fits.
Well, it's interesting because Will is actually coming to take our rehearsal on the 22nd of February. So we'll get that chance to get into the work with him well ahead of the concert, which is great. I know exactly what you mean about that Benedictus bit. I'm a bass, and I'm so looking forward to singing it. That'll be the highlight of the evening for me, pretending to be a double bass.
It's really, really, really good. And if you listen to the recording with the full orchestra, you get so much more out of the orchestral bits as well. You can really pick out the instruments and pick out where he was trying to recreate the instruments and the voices. There's a bit in the soprano solo. I think it actually is. Is it still in the Benedictus? And it's a muted. There's a muted trumpet with the soprano soloist going in unison, and it's so cool. And that's the muted trumpet noise. That's what he wants exactly there. He wants the soprano soloist to just be a little bit more. It's cool. It's nice.
Well, Lisa, you've already done a pretty good job of enthusing me for this Mass in Blue. But I've got a lot of good friends who come to our concerts who are, let's say, traditionalists, and delight coming to hear a Mozart Requiem or a sort of Bach Mass in B minor. But I might have a bit of difficulty persuading them to come to a jazz concert. What should I be saying to them to persuade them that this is an event they really want to come to?
This is something you have to experience. There's something very there's something just thrilling about it. It's so powerful. The first time I listened to it, I didn't have a clue what I was listening to. And I was following it on with the music, thinking, where is this going? And then it worms your way into your head. And you think, this works. This absolutely works. It is thrilling. It's got mixtures of gospel in it. It's got mixtures of jazz and bebop. It's wonderful. And I think anyone who enjoys a good Mozart Requiem, good Haydn Requiem, they like those because of the tunes. And there are some absolutely banging tunes in this and it is just thrilling. The whole choir up on their feet, enjoying it. There's no kind of energy, like nervous energy about getting the notes right or anything. It is just pure joy. The entire thing is joyful. And especially, I keep saying this, I've been saying this for about the last 2 years. After COVID, we need a bit more joy in our lives. We need a bit less stuff and a bit more joy. And this brings the joy. Everything about it brings the joy.
Terrific. That's great. Thank you very much, Lisa. I'm really looking forward to the concert, really looking forward to meeting you in person on the day. And thank you ever so much. I really appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing you in Farnham on the 24th of March.
How exciting. I'll be there in blue.